Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for your time. Let's make a start. For the purpose of today's webinar, we'll be looking at Dynamics CRM, and as Amanda said, talk about some of the R&D enhancements, what's just recently been released, and what will be released in the not too distant future. And it's all around improving sales and business productivity, and certainly leveraging the Microsoft technology stack. So let's make a start. I'm currently logged into Dynamics CRM 2015 as the system administrator, so I've got access to everything. As you'd expect, in Dynamics we have the ability to define security roles and lock down both functionality and data that can be viewed, even down to an individual field level based on an individual's security role. Now, I'm in my dashboard environment, and as you can see, I've got a number of KPIs that have been surfaced. Major benefit of Dynamics CRM is its ability to integrate with other Microsoft technologies that you'd be familiar with, such as Excel. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I've surfaced up some KPIs, and I can actually see through Power View information that's important to me. And I can also merge it with other data points that actually come out of Dynamics CRM. Now, users have the ability to create dashboards, or system administrators have the ability to create dashboards and push them out to the user community. By way of example, we're not limited to just highlighting KPIs or data managed within Dynamics CRM. We can actually link it to other data points and other solutions. In this example, I'll actually be showing you a dashboard that links to a number of telemetric sensors that are built into elevators by partnership with an organisation called ThyssenKrupp. The purpose of this demonstration is just to highlight the ability to actually showcase data in external solutions, but have that merged with CRM information, and in this example it will actually be service calls as it relates to elevators, and have the user interface presented through Dynamics CRM. So we'll just wait for this dashboard to load. So you can see I've got a number of cases as it relates to service requests managed in Dynamics CRM. But then, as I mentioned, the ability to actually surface and integrate with third-party solutions. So in this example, we're looking at elevator implementations across Northern America. And I can see on the East Coast, it's glowing green. On the West Coast, we can actually see, and as we drill down, we've got an elevator that's throwing up a service alert by virtue of the telemetrics that have been built into that elevator's hardware. So we can see at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, we've actually got an issue. So once again, I can actually drill down and have a look at the elevator in question, and I can actually see predicted health, and I can see service completion based on resources managed from within Dynamics CRM. That's just one example of how we can actually surface up data. Now what I'll actually do is go to the sales activity social dashboard. So we'll change tack and look at sales information. So within this dashboard, I've configured my sales pipeline, and I've also got Yammer for Enterprise configured. If you're not familiar with Yammer Enterprise, consider it as Facebook for your organization. It's the ability for you to connect with subject matter experts, both within your organization and external to your organization, tap into their subject matter expertise and apply that expertise to a given workload managed within Dynamics. And you'll see these Yammer posts all throughout Dynamics forms. So I'm in Sales Pipeline. If I just click on, for example, the qualification funnel, I can then drill down to any data set managed within Dynamics. So for example, open opportunities at qualification stage, which accounts make up that? And we can see that we've got, for example, Fabricam with $19 million worth of outstanding opportunities currently in qualification stage. And I can drill down to the individual opportunity should I need to. So you can see here. And I could keep drilling down and keep drilling down until I find the information that I actually need. I can also surface the records that make up that data just by clicking on that expansion button. So I can see the records in Dynamics that make up information as it relates to qualification stage, open opportunity for Fabricam as an example. All right, let's just start with some general navigation. Within Dynamics, we've optimized the user experience for both keyboard and mouse or touch-enabled devices. So I'm going to click on Sales. You'll notice out of box we have Sales, Service and Marketing as out of box entities or workloads that Dynamics CRM supports. Organizations have the ability to customize their own entities and manage workloads that are not necessarily managed in the traditional CRM solution, and you'll see how that surfaces very shortly. So I'm just going to click on Sales, and I'm going to click on an account. An account being an organization. It can be a prospect, a competitor, an existing customer, or a business partner. I'm going to select Microsoft Corporation, and let's drill down to the account management form. So, at a glance, I get static information as it relates to the organization. I can see all attached emails, appointments, inbound calls, outbound calls, etc. I have the ability to create new tasks, whether that be an email, an appointment. Those tasks would also surface in Microsoft Outlook through virtue of the integration that we actually provide with that solution. You'll notice on the right-hand side I've got my key contacts, and we've got a little amber indicator. This is Skype for Business telling me that both Amelia and Mike are offline. They're not available. If they were available, they would be glowing green, and I could have an IM conversation, an instant message conversation, voice call or video call. Should I want to connect with Mike, I can call him. Clicking on that will fire up Skype for Business. So if I'm running Skype, which is part of Office 365 platform, I could actually call Mike, record the topic of conversation within the activities within this account or at a contact level without leaving the Dynamics CRM user interface. I won't complete that call because it would actually put this WebEx meeting on hold, and that would be very frustrating. As I scroll down, we can see that we've got Bing Maps integrated based on the address that was populated at the account level, and I have the ability to drill down, even get to satellite view. We've also got the ability to integrate social insights, which is a solution provided by an organization called Inside View. So I'm just going to go log into that now. It's the first time I've logged in today. It would be a seamless experience for end users. They wouldn't see the requirement to log in separately. But Inside View is a data enrichment solution that enables Dynamics to pull data that's available from the World Wide Web, that's public facing, and populate Dynamics CRM either at an account or contact level. So I'll give you that example now. Let me just refresh my account form. And just wait for this to load. And here we are back again. Right. Okay, so now I have social insights configured in Dynamics CRM. This enables me to get an overview of Microsoft Corporation. From a company insights perspective, we have up to 18 company insights that can be surfaced: leadership changes, new offerings, acquisitions, partnerships, cost cutting, real estate ventures, that sort of thing. I can go in and have a look at the buzz, that is social media posts. In this example, what social media is saying about themselves or what the market is saying about Microsoft Corporation. And we can see the majority of conversations are actually in Twitter. If we go back to people, I can actually see job status of every employee that's within Microsoft organization that have some form of web footprint. So that's going to take a little bit while to load, given that there are so many employees there. While I'm here, I could also see the family tree of Microsoft. I could see similar accounts whether it relates to competitors, various levels, as an example. I have the ability to follow or add Microsoft Corporation to a watch list. So as an example, if anything material changes based on the information that's available on the World Wide Web, I can be automatically notified. So if there's any impact for Microsoft that I need to be aware of, if I'm preparing any form of sales activity or meeting with Microsoft, I can be fully briefed before I go in for that meeting. So I'm just going to do a search on yours truly, and it'll probably be the only time you'll see my name above Satya Nadella, our CEO. But you can see it's actually pulled over my information from Inside View. Now I can drill down on Mark, and whilst I'm not based in Redmond, Washington, that is my phone number. I can drill down and have a look at my LinkedIn profile, and this is my Twitter handle. So I can see the tweets that Mark's made. I can even drill down to a Facebook profile if there's any public-facing Facebook posts that Mark's actually made. So all without leaving the Dynamics CRM form. Now, you'll also notice that I actually have the ability to synchronize records. As an example, if I sync this record, it can bring over the individual's name, their title, their organisation, their phone number, the email address if it's been published, and populate Dynamics CRM. That also has the ability to determine, okay, we've got a couple of leads, so from data duplication perspective, it's telling me that this record Mark Rettig already exists both as a lead and as a contact. So I can determine whether or not I wish to create a new lead or a new contact or update the existing record that's within Dynamics CRM. So from a data cleanliness perspective, we can configure data validation rules to actually check various combinations as it maintains, for example, in this example, against a contact record. So is there more than Mark Rettig in the world? Yes, there is, absolutely. Could there be more than one Mark Rettig that works for Microsoft? Potentially. Is there only one Mark Rettig with one email address and one phone number? Definitely. So you can actually configure data duplication rules to actually look at a field or a combination of fields and prompt the user to determine whether or not that's actually a duplicated record. So that's an example at a contact level, at an account level. What we can actually do is change tack and go in and have a look at the lead and opportunity capabilities that Dynamics affords. So I'm just going to click on Leads. From here, I can look at an existing lead or I can create a new lead. Creating a new lead will bring up the lead entry form and I'll be prompted to enter specific data. Now within Dynamics, you can configure mandatory fields that are required to be completed and business recommended fields. If you have that data, please enter it. If you don't, well, you'll still be able to save the record. So required fields have the red asterisks. So I'm just going to make topic of the lead and I'll put in my name, click done, and I'm going to put in my company, Microsoft. Once I save this record, a number of things will happen. We can open up a Yammer conversation against this lead, against this contact record, Mark Rettig. Given that I've just created this lead, there won't be any Yammer conversations happening there. As I scroll down, we can see that once again, Insights from Inside View has already kicked off. So once again, I could sync this entire organization, or I could sync individual contacts records, as I previously demonstrated. Now, what you'll also notice running left to right on this form is our business process bar. So within Dynamics, and you'll see this all throughout the solution, we have the ability to define a guided business process for operators. That is, the business has defined a particular best practice for a workload that's being managed in Dynamics, and there are certain tasks and activity and data that needs to be entered as we progress, in this example, a lead opportunity. So this is a solution that I actually built for a property management environment. And so this data captured is unique for those requirements. So we could put in a time frame of when this individual expects to either buy or lease a property, what expected rent they want to pay, an overview of the organisation. We can also specify a particular property that they could be interested in. Now, once again, this functionality and this workload isn't managed out of a traditional CRM solution, but it goes back to the capability that Dynamics provides. So 101 to 103 Miller Street is a property that I happen to be leasing. And I can actually drill down on that property and have a look at information as it relates to this particular property. Once again, I configured this form and I configured these fields. It's not out-of-box functionality, but the ability to do so is out-of-box. You don't need to be a developer and you don't have to have extensive development capability to put together this sort of environment. It is very much a configuration-based solution. So you can see I've specified certain data points that I want to capture. You'll also notice that I've got notes and I've attached a photo, but we also have Onenote integration, and you'll see that Onenote capability all throughout Dynamics. So just wait for this notebook to load, and we can see that it relates to a particular fit out. So as I say, this is very much property-based, specific sort of demonstration data, but you could apply it to a myriad of given requirements. So it's bringing up the Onenote Notebook, and you can see that we've got the ability to enter in both text and handwritten images as an example. That's an example of how we could actually integrate with Onenote. Just close that down. Let's go back to my previous form. So we're back at our lead now. What we also have the ability to do is to integrate SharePoint as an example. So given that I've just created this particular record, we know that there is no document repository configured in SharePoint for me. So I do have the ability to create one. And now I have all the functionality that SharePoint can provide. So we can actually have the ability to upload documents, create new documents, have version control, revision control, check in, check out, all the functionality that SharePoint provides. Out-of-box integration, there's no plumbing that's actually required on behalf of the end user. Just in terms of the data points or the integration points that we do have with Dynamics, I'll just bring up this slide. This is functionality that we've had for a number of years now, out-of-box integration with the Outlook client. We've got some new features that were released in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Server-side synchronization, so you can run Microsoft Exchange utilizing an Outlook.com email address and leverage all the functionality that Dynamics CRM provides. Folder-based tracking, so within the Outlook experience, if I choose to want to track a particular email, all I need to do is just drag that email to the folder that's been synchronized with Dynamics, and that email is tracked. Also have the ability to define automated rules, so I can configure a rule that an email from Amanda at Microchannel always goes to a particular folder, and that folder is synced with CRM, therefore by default that email is automatically tracked. I demonstrated very briefly the Onenote integration, so Onenote being a fantastic collaboration tool, whether it be handwritten or data entry. From a sales analytics perspective, the ability to integrate with Excel, I'll show that very shortly. Integration with SharePoint, integration with Yammer is what I've just demonstrated. And you'll see from a roadmap perspective moving forward, we're only going to enhance this integration experience between Dynamics CRM and Office 365. Let's go back to Dynamics now. So as you can see, I can, back to the business process, I can go in and see what data has been entered, what data needs to be entered, what tasks and activities need to be completed before we can actually progress this lead opportunity into a sales opportunity, as an example. A lot of information I can actually capture here. Should I choose to qualify this lead to an opportunity, just click on the qualification icon, and that would actually create a new opportunity for me, driven from this lead. So from a completeness of data, from a historic data perspective, I have that history that can be viewed. So it was Mark Reddick that was interested in a widget, and here we are now as an opportunity. So I can actually go through and complete additional tasks and activities that are actually required. So whether or not, in this example, a bank guarantee has been received, we can see down here that no insurance certificate has been received. So you get visual prompters. You also have the ability to define automated workloads. So if, for example, we haven't received the bank guarantee, I can actually trigger a workflow in the background to generate an email, as an example. So we haven't received a bank guarantee. For the purposes of today's demonstration, I'll just manually fire off the workflow. Documentation required is the name that I gave to that workflow, and we'll just add that. And so we'll run that. Once again, that could be an automated process based on data that I've entered and the conditions of data that I've actually entered. So I'll just give it a second or two for that to fire off, and I'll refresh my form. And we'll be taken back to that opportunity. Once again, an end user wouldn't have to worry about refreshing a form, but it's because I'm fast tracking it for the purposes of this demonstration. And that workflow still hasn't fired, but it will. You'll notice that we've got that social insights pane coming along with us on this business process journey. Okay, so that's an example of the business process and how fields can be defined and created based on individual requirements of organisations to capture data. And there's really no limitation in terms of the business processes that could be defined. If we go, for example, back to a sales lead level, and if I create a new lead, once again, and I'm going back to leads. I've been involved in implementations of Dynamics where organisations don't use leads, they go straight to opportunities, and that's fine, but it just really boils down to how the software has been configured to support the end user's requirements. So I'll give this another name. Put in my name once again. Click Done. Even though we're in a particular, and in this example, a commercial business process that's been rendered within the lead form, I do have the ability to actually change process. And I can do that by clicking on these ellipses and switch a given process. So we've been looking at a commercial sales process. Now let's look at the residential sales process that's been configured. So the system will prompt me to capture different needs or different data points associated with the needs of, in this example, the residential property division of the organisation. So you can see that we now have budget, buyer type, whether that relates to owner-occupier as an investment property or first home owned buyer, how many bedrooms they require, how many bathrooms they require. So you can see how the software can be configured to support data capture requirements and how those data captures can be applied to a given business process flow. That's just one example. In the PowerPoint slide, when I showed the integration points between Office 365 and Dynamics CRM, we looked at Excel. So if I go now, and I'll just go into sales opportunities, you'll notice all throughout Dynamics this icon, the ability to export to Excel. From here, I can open the data in Excel online. It will give me the opportunity to export that data populate it, and then re-import it back into Dynamics with a full audit trail. We have a static worksheet. So in this example, it'll just pull the data over into Dynamics. What we also offer is what we call a dynamic worksheet. Now that's the ability to create or establish a live link between the Dynamics CRM database and the Excel spreadsheet. So if I open up the Excel spreadsheet that was produced as a result of this Dynamics worksheet, if the data is changed within Dynamics as new records are created or edited, so too would my Excel spreadsheet be updated. For purposes of today's demonstration, I'm just going to bring it over into a static worksheet. So it's bringing up the data now. And here we go. Now what I'll just do, and this will take about 20 seconds to actually fire off, but I'm just going to pull this data over, click on Insert, and I'm going to create a Power Map. If you're not familiar with Power Map functionality, if you're running Excel 2010, it's a free download from Microsoft Downloads. If you're running Excel 2013, this functionality has already been baked in. Now this will take 15-20 seconds to configure, but what it's actually doing is looking at the address details of the spreadsheet, both the street address, suburb and country, and it's actually doing geographic mapping against that in an interactive map, which will come up very shortly. And here it is. Now, this is all well and good, but what I actually want to do is create a view where I want to see the estimated revenue being a height. I want to see the status of the opportunities in question as a category, cancelled, in progress, outsold, or won. And as I scroll down, that should do it. You also have the ability to put in a date and time slicer as required. So what I can actually do now is claw back some real estate, but then I can zoom in. I can get down to individual street levels should I so desire. So we can see on the east coast of the US for this particular location that we've got 32 million worth of estimated revenue, and we've won $46 million. That's just a very simple configurable Power Map configured within Dynamics CRM in 30 seconds or less. That gives you the sort of interoperability that we have. Whilst we're on a reporting perspective, let's have a look at Power BI capabilities that Dynamics CRM dovetails nicely into. For this example, I'm using Power BI. Power BI, which is once again available as part of the Office 365 platform. Now, Dynamics CRM is considered a first-class data source for Power BI. So once I specify the location of my CRM database, it will automatically populate this Sales Manager dashboard. So this is all the data that I have in Dynamics CRM based on the last refresh, which can be configured to run hourly, daily, or weekly. But I can drill down on specific KPIs. So we're looking at revenue by individuals. We'll just let this run. There is a degree of latency probably experienced because of the webinar or WebEx overhead associated with it. That's just taking too much time to run. Let's try that again. Yeah, no, this is a live demo, as you can appreciate. All right, so it's starting to render now. So I'm looking at my sales leader and sales laggard, and I can keep going along and having a look at different views of this data. So win-loss analysis, as an example, I can go in and have a look and get a grid view of won versus lost opportunities, as an example. The real strength of the solution is the natural language search capability. So when we query the data based on the view that we want to get, I have the ability to pull up an existing query statement. Total leads were created in the last 3 months, as an example, or won opportunities in the last 3 months or 12 months. But I have the ability to dynamically create my own. So in this example, I want to look at estimated revenue. So show estimated revenue. Great, it's brought it up now, 475 million. And let's look at that by account. So we'll just let the software catch up with us. And if I could spell estimated, that would help. So it's brought that up now. So show estimated revenue by account. We might want to look at a global view once again in a map. And then once again, I've got the ability to drill down and have a look at specific data points. So in this example, for New South Wales, we've got $39 million from one particular account, just by way of demonstration. So that's a very quick example of Dynamics CRM's ability to integrate with other Microsoft technologies, such as Power BI. Let's have a look at the impact that social media has had on CRM solutions. And to do that, I'm going to flip over into our social engagement solution. So Microsoft Social Engagement, formerly known as Microsoft Social Listening, enables organizations to report on positive, neutral, and negative sentiment based on social media posts, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, news blogs, etc., on key search criteria an organization is interested in. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I've got a number of queries that have been created, but I'm interested in prospective students, and this relates to a demonstration that I did to a higher education institution. So we can see from an overview perspective as it relates to sentiment, we've got some 41% of neutral social media posts that reflect the search criteria or phrases that I've incorporated for viewing. We've got just under 40% that deemed positive and just under 20% that would suggest a negative connotation associated with that social media post. So we've got no Facebook data that's come through. So once again, if I was a marketer for this particular organization, potentially we should be looking at leveraging Facebook as a social media channel. You can see overwhelmingly Twitter is extremely popular. We've got some YouTube videos and a couple of news blogs. We can see the top authors based on posts, and we can see key phrases associated with those social media posts. I can drill over and see conversations, so we'll just wait for this to load again. But it's the ability to actually look at location insights. It's the ability to look at the volume of posts from a given location with potentially a negative connotation associated to it. Here we go back again. So it's just refreshed because I logged in about a half an hour before this seminar was due to actually kick off. So it just actually threw me out. So we'll go back to our prospective students once again. And it is taking a while to load, but then there's a lot of data coming through. So there's our sentiment. We can see our key phrases. I'm looking at this data on the month, but I can change the time frame and analyze the social media posts, whether it be today, last week, or in this example, last month. Top Twitter hashtags that are commenting on my social media. It'll eventually come up with trending phrases, languages. Dynamics social engagement can be configured to support multiple languages, etc. So we can look at key phrases, we can see trending phrases, and we can get to see an understanding of who's posting what from what location. And given it was an Australian higher education institution, yes, the bulk of social media posts have come from Australia. We can have a look at a sentiment perspective, and we can get a quick snapshot of our brand ambassadors, people saying good things about our product or service, as opposed to my top critics or my brand detractors, people that are saying not so good things about our social media posts or products or services. So that gives marketers the ability to tap into the pulse of social media and be extremely responsive based on the preferred communication channel that a prospective client or prospect or an existing client may already have in terms of their preferred method of communication. And I can always go and actually see the social media posts in question. So here are the posts that have come across, and let's just click on Sports Matters AU. We can see Paul Perkins. We'll bring up his post very shortly. These little bars here indicate a reach or clout, that is how influential this individual is in social media. So for example, if Paul was saying a disparaging or negative statement about our product or service, just how many people would see that and or potentially repost it. So it does give you the opportunity to target brand detractors and really provide superior levels of customer service if required. So in the time that we had today, we've covered off a lot of ground. We highlighted the base capability of Dynamics CRM, certainly its ability to integrate with other Microsoft technologies such as Onenote, Yammer, SharePoint, Excel, Power BI, and we've also looked at Microsoft Social Engagement, which traditionally these sorts of social media solutions are only available to very large organisations with large budgets. This is a very cost-effective solution